Good evening, everyone, and I welcome you all on behalf of RSSDI for this very special show, RSSDI Diabetes Bytes. And today we have very eminent guests and celebrities with us. First of all, I would like to welcome our president, Dr. Bansi Sabu, who is here. Dr. Bansi Sabu is the president of Research Society for Diabetes in India, and it is his idea. He has come up with this very beautiful campaign called Defeat Diabetes, for which all the RSSDA members, they are working very hard for last almost 45 days and so. With today we have a very special guest, Dr. Ashish Chopra, with us. Dr. Ashish Chopra, as you all know, is a culinary historian. He is a TV host. He is a writer. He is a traveler, and he himself is also a patient of diabetes. And last time when we were on Diabetes Bytes, he aired his thoughts. He talked about the various things and various foodstuffs, and he gave very clear messages to our audience for the diabetes management and how to defeat diabetes. And today we will shortly be joined by Ms. Parvathy Omanakuttan. She is former Miss India 2008, and she is also a health crusader. So our idea is to reach to maximum people. So I would like to welcome Dr. Bansi Sabu, and I will request him to make the opening statement and the opening remark.
First of all, thanks Amit for this wonderful show today. You have invited very eminent personalities in the field of beauty, as well as she is also in the field of health. We have along with us Mr. Ashish Chopra. We have already introduced him, and last time also he was with us, and he talked about different delicacies and food items and how all these can help in the persons with diabetes. As we know, the idea of this Defeat Diabetes campaign is we have to test everyone. Each one of us should know what is your sugar level. We know during COVID time, uncontrolled diabetes or first time detected diabetes found to have more morbidity and mortality. So this is the first thing which we want, that everyone should know about their sugar. Sugar monitoring is as important vital sign as other vital signs like pulse, blood pressure, your oxygen saturation, and the temperature. The similar way, the glucose monitoring should be done for each one of us. All of us are at higher risk of developing diabetes, particularly all adult population. In India, 50% of them, they don't know they are diabetic, and many of us are on the verge of developing diabetes, as our waist circumference, our abdominal girth is more than half of our height. So if we are having your waist circumference or abdominal girth which is more than half of your height, then you are at the risk of developing diabetes. And they should test their sugar, and they should track it also. They should regularly monitor it also. And those who are diabetes, they should also track it regularly. The monitoring of the sugar is very important. And as I told you, uncontrolled diabetes leads to a lot of complication. And particularly those who are hospitalized during COVID time, they will have worse outcome in compared to the patient who does not have diabetes or those who have controlled diabetes. And third, the last important point is those who have uncontrolled diabetes, please visit to your healthcare physician, healthcare professional as early as possible to get it under control. This Defeat Diabetes campaign have the tagline of test, track and treat. Already we have more than 9,000 members all across the country, and we have a goal of reaching 100 million lay persons in 100 days. In 40 days, 45 days, we have already reached our mission by reaching to more than 30 million persons by different social media. And that is our big achievement through the task force, as well as all our RSSDA members are really working very hard to reach our target. This mission looks very impossible, but actually when we started the working on it, we found many more persons started joining. And for that, I must thank here Mr. Ashish Chopra also, and many more celebrities who are joining us. Not only they are joining, they are sharing our Twitter, our RSSDA Facebook page, and they are joining us on live Facebook also. So we are very thankful to all dignitaries, all eminent diabetologists and doctors who are joining us to reach our goal, because our goal is to reach 100 million lay persons in next 100 days. So with this Defeat Diabetes campaign, now we are talking to different state government, today only, before 3 days only, we were talking to the state health secretary, Gujarat government also. So I mean, everybody is very excited, and I'm sure in next 40-45 days we will able to reach 100 million person. That is our goal. With these few words, now I again once again thank Amit as well as all task force member of our Defeat Diabetes campaign, and over to Amit for further proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You rightly said our objective was to create more awareness, and as we are almost midway of our campaign. What we are seeing is that now our campaign is gaining attention. It is catching the eyes of the common people as well as the authorities also, and very soon I am sure we will be having an impact. But we want to make. We have also been joined by Gautam Chopra. Gautam ji, if you can switch on your camera, no issue with that. And
Evening. Hi, Gautam. Great to see you as always.
Hi, sir. Great to see you as well. Hello?
Banshi, you are muted.
Sorry. So I think Amit is disconnected. Gautamji, welcome to the show. Last time we met, so I remember you very much. And now Dr. Makkad is also joined with us. Dr. Briam Makkad is an eminent diabetologist and obesity physician from City of Delhi. He is an RSSDI Executive Committee member. He is a past secretary of RSSDI National Chapter. And I would just like to request Dr. Makkad also for a few words about the Defeat Diabetes campaign, as in he is a integral part of RSSDI. So over to Dr. Breeze Makkad till Amit join, and then we will ask the Gautam also for a few comments. Over to Dr. Makkad.
Thank you, Dr. Banshi. I think it's a very big and very ambitious initiative that RSSDI has taken up, and defeating diabetes is a huge challenge. Huge challenge. And the only way we can do it is by creating awareness about diabetes, about what diabetes can do to an individual's life, what kind of complications can one face, what are the economic implications, how does it affect quality of life, and so on. So diabetes basically is a disease which actually affects each and every single part of the body, and if it is not taken care well, it can lead to not only increase in the risk of other diseases and early death, but it significantly compromises the quality of life. And that is worst thing to happen to anybody, especially in the prime of life. So it is very important to focus on diabetes as a major healthcare challenge and take it head on and do whatever we can do to defeat it.
Thank you, Dr. Makkad. Can I have Mr. Gautam for a few words before we invite Ashish Bhai?
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity, everyone. I think, when Dr. Amit and I'd met with Dr. Bansi the other day, I think to have learnt about such a grand initiative at the scale that RSSDI is planning, it's truly an honor to be able to help support this cause. Being the youth of the country, having gone through the tryst with the diabetes early on in our lives, I think we do see the importance of spreading this awareness of what not only diabetes, arrival of diabetes does in an individual's life, but also the complications that can arise if it's not kept in check and is uncontrolled. And having been someone who, along with my founder and co-founder Yash, seen so many individuals go through the brunt of complications arising out of diabetes through the work that we've been doing. It's truly an honor to be part of this initiative and support it in any which way we can. To be able to spread this awareness about monitoring, measurement, management, and ensuring that this message reaches as many Indians as possible. As everyone knows, India is going to soon surpass perhaps even China is the diabetes capital of the world, and we're sitting on practically a ticking time bomb, and it is everyone's duty to be able to ensure this awareness message is spread as far as possible, as wide as possible. And being the youth of the country, being people who have good foundation in technology, we are extremely happy we can leverage our knowledge, our skills to this cause to be able to make this campaign and make this awareness spread to as many millions of Indians as possible. So thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Gautamji. Very rightly said. And the words which we have used, the monitoring and the management, the 3M, we can have the mass awareness, monitoring and management, like the similar, the defeat diabetes. We have the tagline is test, track, and treat. So this mass awareness, monitoring, and the management is the right word, which we can also use as in tagline. Amit, I think should I request Mr. Ashish Chopra for a few words as we were discussing last time,
Yes,
so
sir.
he can
Yes, sir.
continue on the same thing. Yes, Ashish ji.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Sabu. I'm amidst such luminaries, all the doctors, a diabetic promoter has a wonderful startup. And not only is he a friend, I support what he's doing. He's doing some amazing work. I'm a patient, basically, of diabetes, and all of you are inspiring me how to work towards proper control of my sugar levels, and it is beginning to work on me very well, thanks to all of you. So my whole effort and endeavor is that this is a campaign which you have launched, and I think the whole world should know about this campaign. We must promote it to its best of our ability so that it reaches out to almost every household, considering that every second home in India has some diabetic or the other. And if we don't keep a check now, it's going to be very disastrous. And diabetes is the mother of all diseases. So I will most definitely be joining hands with all of you to support and promote such a marvelous campaign.
That's
Ashish,
really great.
yes, sir. I must appreciate Ashish because it is easy for us to be a diabetes advocate because all of us are doctors and we treat diabetes and we are doing the work for that. But it is equally difficult for you being a patient and then again being a diabetes advocate. And I think it is equally true for Gautam also because he has come up with a startup. And Gautam, what we are talking right now is about monitoring, but you came up with this idea almost 5 years ago and you planned with connected glucometers, which still many of the other big companies are still roping in. So, what made you realize that testing as well as tracking is equally important? So, how did you come to that idea?
So, sir, this really began when we were facing this problem ourselves. We were able to, of course, see the best of doctors, get the right advice. But when we actually went back home, what we realized is that what gets measured gets managed. And what we found as a problem was that many times we wanted to understand the why behind the reading, which was not very easy to all the time, go and speak with the doctors, etc., especially when they were very busy with other patients. But we had simple questions that remained unanswered, which could have actually, with a timely response, could have helped us, navigate through this condition better. And we found that, of course, for us to be able to build something that could complete this feedback loop through, the data that was coming in was extremely important, and that led to us, of course, developing this concept, which was to be able to have a device that could simply plug into your phone, and based on the reading, the app, of course, could help you nudge you to be able to do certain things in the right manner, and also then complement it with the right advice coming from the certified diabetes educators, etc., to be able to help you course correct in a more timely fashion. So, helping complete this loop also supported, of course, the doctors, because now, the doctors could actually have the right information at disposal when the patient went back. All the logs, all the trends were rightly captured by them. Nobody was missing any piece of information. What had actually happened with the patient in between those visits was also something which was captured well and articulated. for the medical practitioners to be able to make the right decisions or better decision making. So we felt it had worked for us, and it was something which was relatively new. Still, we had left our jobs to be able to come and, of course, start this out, to help ourselves. But in the process, we realized that what we were developing, what we were building, was something that could help millions of other Indians. And the other important point was, like you said, everything starts with monitoring for individuals, because once you start looking at the data, you start appreciating what has to be done to be able to correct it. And that's actually the core of perhaps first principles that we are trying to tackle in India also with this initiative of yours, because many people unfortunately don't even monitor as much as they should. So just solving that problem became extremely important for us. How could we encourage people to monitor? Of course, cost, like Dr. Makkad also said, there is a
I think his connection was poor, Amit. We have with us now Parvathy ji. Amit, you are muted.
Hi, Parvathy. Good to see you.
Good evening, Parvathy ji. It is really a pleasure to have you with Research Society for the Study of Diabetes in India. It is one of the largest society of diabetes professionals in the world, and almost second largest in the world, and the largest in the Asia. And today we have with us Ashish Chopra. You already know, and I am very thankful to Ashish for bringing Parvathy ji to this platform for this very noble and social cause. Today we have with us Dr. Bansi Sabu. He is the president of RSSDI, and Dr. Brish Mohan Makkad. He is also the EC member of RSSDI. And we have a Gautam Chopra with us. Gautam Chopra is CEO and founder of V2, and he himself is a patient who is living with diabetes, but at the same time he has turned the adversity into an opportunity, and he is helping not only himself but millions of other people with his initiative. So with that note, I would like to welcome you. Welcome to our show, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and it's a honor to be part of this. We all know that as a country, diabetes is something that is really taking over a lot of other ailments, and if I can be part of creating awareness about this, it would be my privilege. So glad to be here today.
Thank you, Parvathy. Ashish ji, I would request you to start the conversation, as you are very familiar with the topic as well as Parvathy ji, and meanwhile we will bring up the discussion. I think Ashish camera is frozen. Parvathy ji, as you have rightly pointed out, we have the second largest number of people living with diabetes in India. And still almost we have 80 lakhs 8 crore people who are living with diabetes in India, and a similar number doesn't know about that they have diabetes. So that is why RSSDI came up with this idea of starting this campaign of defeat diabetes with the objective of triple T's, that is the test, track and treat. So our idea is we want people that if they don't know what is their diabetes status, they should check themselves and find out whether they have diabetes or not. And if they don't have diabetes, if they have diabetes, then at least they should check it to have an adequate control. And it is very important that
You're not audible.
Sorry, Amit, I think you are not audible again.
There's a glitch today in the internet all day long.
So, Parvathy ji, basically the idea of this Defeat Diabetes campaign is a nationwide campaign where we want to make people aware about testing, tracking, and treatment of diabetes. That is what the name of Defeat Diabetes, with the tagline of test, track, and treat. We want everyone to know that sugar monitoring is as important as other vital signs. As we know, the temperature, pulse, the blood pressure, and oxygen saturation, they are very important. During COVID time, what we had seen that everybody started knowing what is your oxygen saturation, but we are forgetting what is your sugar level. And there is enough data now to show that those who have uncontrolled diabetes found to have more morbidity and worse outcomes.
Right.
And that's the reason sugar monitoring should be considered as a fifth vital sign. It is as important as your oxygen saturation. But many people, they don't know whether they are diabetic or not, so they should be tested. We are at the higher risk of developing diabetes. At the same time, those who are having diabetes, they are not regularly monitoring it, they are not tracking it regularly. And the worst part is, still those who are getting treatment, two-thirds of them are not under good control. So the treatment and keeping it under good control is very, very important and very vital also, to keep the sugar control and at the same time to keep the other complication under control.
Right.
So with this idea, we had come out with this ambitious project. We want to reach to 100 million. We have already crossed 45 days, and we reached almost 30 million with the help of different social media. Twitter
Amazing.
is one media, and other is the Facebook Live. These are the two very, very important. Many of them are following us on RSS. We are, looking for endorsement from celebrities like you, and we are really very thankful and grateful that you are endorsing our Defeat Diabetes campaign. And as we are also thankful to Mr. Ashish Chopra, who introduced you to this platform. So now we would like to ask you that, how you like the idea of Defeat Diabetes. That is number one. And what you think about that, about the sugar as a layman, as a monitoring, or about the sugar monitoring, how important it is for everyone to know about their sugar.
First of all, thank you for having me here today, and it's a very noble initiative, I feel, because like you said, the test, track, and treat method is something that needs to happen for most of the ailments that a person goes through, which I feel somewhere gets neglected because we are often used to just treating the superficial wounds, or the first primary symptoms, without really going into the depth of what is actually causing it. Like a lot of people, in India itself, like I don't know if there is any family who themselves or their immediate family or someone in their family is suffering from, or tackling with diabetes. And I think one of the major reasons for that is, people are not very serious about doing their health checkups regularly. I mean, a lot of people I've seen, I mean, including my house, they have the BP, the blood pressure machine, where they check the blood pressure in case, you feel like there's a headache all of a sudden, or you feel low on energy. But like you said, it's very important to track one's sugar level as well. um, because India as a country itself, we love food, we love celebrations, and the whole idea of having people over for dinner or for lunch or any festivities, it's all revolving around food. So a lot of people also do not go to the doctor to check in spite of having a lot of symptoms, because they are scared somewhere that they might be dependent on medicines. And India has been like, I think we all have the habit of saying this chalta hai, let it be, and we'll deal with it when it comes. I think that attitude needs to change. And so I think this is a great initiative when you are bringing in awareness, and it's not something that you have to wait till it really gets serious. I know of people who have who got diabetes at a very very young age, and their journeys have been remarkable, but that was only possible because it was detected at a very early stage. And I also know of people whose conditions are really really bad, because the diabetes went unnoticed, and it often leads to amputation of toes, fingers, and depending on where it's really affecting. So I think somewhere around between that, we need to figure out how we can balance. We always talk about health is wealth and prevention is better than cure, but we forget to imply that and apply that into our own lives. And this is a great initiative, and whatever I can do in my capacity to create awareness, I would be happy to do so.
That's great.
You have rightly said, and you rightly brought in the point that actually the food is a celebration for us. And I would
But
like to,
one
on the
advantage
lighter
is
note, I
there
would
now.
ask.
Amit, one advantage
Yes,
is there now, online meeting, We are having meeting, but we are not having celebration, or we don't eat also. This is one of the advantages of during this COVID time. If we are doing all meetings online and we are not having any food celebration.
So we may be
but
binge
sir,
eating separately.
Yes,
but sir,
yes,
there is another disadvantage with the online meeting that we keep sitting all the time. At least in the
I
conference hall, we were moving a lot.
correct.
uh,
So actually, if you look at the food consumption or the, its relation to celebrations, it is not just India. Everywhere across the globe, every celebration means some food,
Yeah.
or maybe some food and drink also. India, fortunately, drink is not part of the celebration. Everywhere else, the drink is also part of the celebration. So, for every small reason, we would like to celebrate and end up on good food or unhealthy, so-called rich, or food, which ultimately adds up to the problem. And the second thing, as we just had a word that we are going so poor on the physical activity that it is declining every single day. And now there are a lot of studies which have shown that it is not just having physical activity that is good. Physical inactivity per se is a major risk factor for getting diabetes, heart disease, and so on. So I think we have to focus on both the aspects. Uh, we should be very moderate with the food consumption. We should be, balancing it. At the same time, we should reduce the physical inactivity. Whether we become active is a second thing. First thing is we should not remain inactive. For everything you have a remote now. Everything is operated by remote. You don't go and pick up a glass of water also. Somebody is giving it. So all those things I think have added to this
So this is
severely
very
increasing the
important point, Dr. Makkar and Dr. Amit. We had talked about physical inactivity and prolonged sitting. As now we know that prolonged sitting is as risky as somebody have a smoking also. So I
yes.
mean, addition of inactivity is very important, and this is also a campaign which is started by American Diabetic Association. Like more than 90 minutes, you should not sit by any condition. I mean, that is a prolonged sitting. It is considered so
Yes.
as this is a social media platform, many laypersons are listening us, so they should know they should not sit continuously for more than 90 minutes. So I understand, Amit, fully that prolonged sitting is really increasing because of this online meeting. I'm sure you are busy on online meetings since last 3 hours, 6:30 to 9:30. You are sitting only on this. So now over to Amit. Yes, if you want to make anything.
and what I was saying is that Sir Ashish would always invite us, and he will say, "Have a meeting over lunch or dinner," and I will cook and I will make very delicious food, and I will serve that. So,
So it was
I would like to ask Parvathy that since you pointed out every second household in India or every third household in India is now having a patient living with diabetes, more so in the urban setting and less so in the rural setting. And so, what exactly has changed? We were not seeing this 20 years ago. It was rare to find a patient living with diabetes in your neighbor, and it was not that common. But now, everyone, it is so common. So, what in your uh, what do you feel that why it has suddenly changed so much?
Well, I was actually going to point this out, somewhere down the conversation, and good that you asked me this question. So I have been doing a lot of research on food. Food is my passion, and I love eating food. I love, cooking food, and just like Ashish, that's the connect that made us friends. And so I come from a household where food is like, very, very important. Or, we think about the breakfast, lunch, dinner, and this evening snack in between. And so I think what has happened is, with everything that we have around us, with all the, all the help that we have, or all the ease of, getting things at the touch of a fingertip, like, like doctor said in the, just a few minutes back, that we do not have to even move from our place. We can get everything at the click of a finger. We don't have to go to the supermarkets anymore. We don't have to, we don't have to really take an effort to get what we need. And that's the reason why we see that drastic difference in health amongst the rural people and the urban people. And the reason also, but also what happens is there is a big drastic difference in their health. There are also people who are malnourished. There are people who are over obese, and there is a drastic difference that's there in the statistics. And when I was doing my research on food and health and what really is the reason, I landed up reading about the hunter-gatherers of the Hadza community in Tanzania, and they are a community which thrives on what is naturally available to them, and they do not go out of their way. They do not go, overkill. They eat meat. They eat whatever is available in nature, and they are physically extremely active. They move from one place to another every day in search of food, whether it's their women, whether it's the men. There are men who are old as 75, and they don't look a day older than 50. Their skin, their hair, their health, it's just absolutely amazing. And I think in the rural areas, why we see the lack of or the reduction of these kind of health issues is because they are more active than most people like us who live in the comfort of the cities. And the physical activity plays a very important role. I mean, we were having a discussion the other day about the quantity of rice one must eat or the number of rotis one must eat. And someone said that, oh, we have grown up eating 8 to 10 chapatis, and this is nothing, and as you grow old you need to eat more. That is something which where we kind of make the mistake. In the olden times, we had a full setup. Everything had to be done by our hands, whether it's grinding the grains or making your masalas, making your chutneys. Everything had to be sourced personally and made into a byproduct which would then be consumed. Now we go and buy things that's readily available in packets. And most of the time, I'm in the US right now, and here we are stuffed with food that is GMO, and it's genetically modified. So we need to be very peculiar about what we pick up to eat. And if not, then you see that the health kind of deteriorates really, really fast. And that's catching up in India as well. The farmers markets are less. The local vendors who sell fruits and vegetables have lessened with the supermarkets coming in. So I think somewhere we need to kind of make a balance where we have supermarkets or vendors who kind of collect stuff from the farmers directly and bring it to the people so they can have fresh produce. And that makes a very big difference. And that's what I've seen while traveling in different parts of India as well. If you grow your own produce and if you eat from that, your health is much better than what you get when you buy stuff, buy your vegetables for the month, stuff it in the fridge, cook your food, freeze it, and reheat it. And I think that's where we go into the loop of convenience that causes disease. And disease, as we talk about it so easily, but disease in technical terms would be dis-ease, something that is not causing you a comfort and something that's taking away your ease. And I think that balance needs to be created. And this awareness, I strongly feel, needs to start from a very young age when you go to school. Just as important as it is to learn multiplication, just as important it is to learn about the, you know, the tables and recite poems. It's as important as those things to kind of understand the importance of health. And when that starts, I think parents will also take like a backstep and realize that, okay, fine. Because when we used to go to schools, we used to get roti and sabzi or dosa or idli with chutney and sambar. But now you see kids with like donuts and cakes and things that for parents it's convenient, but it's not doing good for their kids' health in the long run. And I think the whole idea of carbs and sugar, if it needs to be balanced somewhere, and that awareness needs to be created from a very young age. And I think that's what's very important.
Thank you very much. You have rightly pointed so many very important aspects. And one important thing which you just highlighted is that it is not just the food, but it is also the physical activity which has been declining. But one major challenge which always comes is that it is difficult to find a healthy snack. And we have very easy access to samosas, pakoras, vadas. And if you go, even if you intend to eat something which is healthy, and you go to any shop, it is very difficult to find. So procurement of healthy food has become difficult. If you look at the school canteens or the college canteens, and when we doctors talk about the healthy food and all, we are just taken for granted because they say that it is their job to talk about like this. But it is here comes the role of people like Ashish, people like Gautam, and people like you who have represented the India at the highest level. When you talk about diabetes, when you don't have anything to do with the diabetes, you don't have a disease, still you are talking and still you are aware about that. Then and the young people, many young people, they follow you, and I think it is going to make an important impact when the message comes from the people who are not having diabetes or having diabetes and managing it well. So it is very important. So you really made a very important point. So I would like to just bring in Gautam here also. Gautam, what is your opinion and what would you like to say? And
Before that,
ask
I'd like to say
Parvathy.
something.
Yes,
Before
Ashish.
that, I'd like to say something. I have been using Gautam's products now extensively. His quinoa pasta. I love pasta and Italian food and stuff like that. I've enjoyed his noodles, which are multi-millet noodles, which are also almost the same thing. He's also doing, sugar-free stuff, which is stevia infused, and it does not have other. So his shop, one-stop shop on his application, has some amazing array of diabetic-friendly food. Why I'm saying this, and I'm not endorsing this because I'm using this stuff. I'm endorsing it because it has helped me. Thanks to the Libra sugar tasting thing, when I first would test my shoe and I would cook a pasta, the quinoa pasta, vis-a-vis the pasta, which is the normal flour pasta or otherwise the normal wheat pasta, or even the noodles. Obviously, these are which have very low glycemic index, and I can assure you one thing, that my sugar levels have almost remained normal. They've not enhanced. So obviously, food plays a very important role, and it is organizations like his that can play an extremely important role in supporting diabetic friendly products when it comes to food, and everything is online now thanks to COVID. You don't have to go anywhere to look for things. They're all available, but the important thing is they're all certified, they're all tested, and they're all endorsed. Over to you, Gautam. Sorry, I just couldn't resist talking
No,
about
no.
your products.
No, I think three things. First of all, Mr. Chopra, you're a very kind person. Second, I think, more importantly to what Parvathy said and Dr. Amit, you resorted to, I think, the discovery of healthy products is very difficult in our country. And largely because, as you said, and Dr. Makkad had pointed out before too, because food is a celebration. When you're going out, if you look at Zomato or Swiggy, what are the top, food choices you have there? It's McDonald's, it's Domino's. It's a lot of, food which one would consume on an occasional basis when you're celebrating. When it comes to healthy food in general, right, the discovery of those products becomes extremely difficult. Because when you look at different platforms, even online platforms, it's very hard to go and actually, find the right product which would satisfy the needs of a person who's got diabetes or other conditions. The second is, most unfortunately, most of the brands that are trying some of these very innovative concepts are unfortunately subscaled right now from a business standpoint. Because when you look at the demand, when you look at the reach of these brands, it's very hard to actually take a brand offline these days. So you have to start online, but when you start online, that audience still is very small. How do you reach to the to a larger set of people who can then, over a period of time, if your discovery is there, if your scale is there, then your costs can start to come down. What we find, unfortunately, right now is the discovery is a problem for healthy foods. Parvathy, to your point, we find that some of the brands are not very scaled up, which means that their cost of production is high, which means the price point is also unfortunately high, which then has a catch-22 situation wherein the demand, India is a price-sensitive market, demand elasticity is very high, and then you don't find people either not buying those products or otherwise settling for something which is actually as unhealthy. It just looks perhaps healthy. So I think as an initiative for us, A is of course to be able to spread awareness. The fact that now we have a platform wherein people, with diabetes are coming in, we can, work with partners who are trying to, come up with nice products and showcase them, help them get discovered to folks like yourselves, who can then try them out. And if the product is good, like Mr. Chopra, then they can continue, buying those products on a repeated basis. I think food, of course, is one of the most important criteria. But I just wanted to add, Dr. Amit, also, two important points which we notice. One is definitely the modern way of living causes a lot more stress in the lives of people. I think COVID and being at home hasn't really helped. When you look at women, for example, especially women who are, also have got young kids, managing everything at home, work, school going children, etc. Now actually being at home. When I even look at my household, for instance, I think it has all contributed to the stress and the fact that you can't really venture out too much, take a break, get away from all of this. It is actually causing a lot of problems, and perhaps also, especially in younger population, with these levels going up, there is obviously a risk that diabetes or its comorbidities will start to become even more prominent. The second thing which we notice, and Parvathy, what you were mentioning, that it's perhaps let's say smaller towns or rural areas in India is where you would find diabetes to be less. We actually see, on the contrary, the rise of incidence of diabetes in these areas is actually pretty high. And large, perhaps also because, over a period of time, technology is moving to these areas. I think people are becoming, I would say, maybe not as lazy as us in the metros, but definitely that lifestyle is starting to, have an impact in smaller towns and cities. I think what is concerning for us when we see, and these are simple, data points that we look at, a person who, for example, would start on their monitoring journey or measurement journey. Dr. Sabu, interesting fact. In a metro, we see that person is around 35 to 40 years of age, right? Whereas the same person in tier 2, tier 3 cities is almost 45, which means that there's a 5-year delay. When you look at a person who's in a smaller town versus in a metro, actually breeding and getting that awareness that, hey, I should start taking charge of my health because it's only going to worsen over a period of time. So I think these few factors, the fact that it's actually now this sort of an epidemic is actually entering and going beyond the metros to smaller cities and towns. And the fact we don't have enough awareness, the fact that perhaps some of these cities and towns are not even prepared for NCTs as well as maybe the metros are, I think it's a concerning fact. And this initiative which is being done on a really grand scale, I think it's going to have a material impact, hopefully, to be able to energize our infrastructure, energize, of course, the population in terms of being able to carry out their testing, treatment. Sorry, I forget. Testing, treatment, and the test. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's, this is an important message. Of course, we use it in another form. I was saying monitoring, measurement, and management, but I think it's eventually the same thing. But yeah, those would be a few of my points which I would like to add, Dr. Amit.
Gautam, you have actually brought in a very important point, and I would like to inform Parvathy that on 29th of September, RSSDI is going to have a very big plan. We have a very big plan on this single day, we are going to create more than 5,000 sites all across the India, where we intend to test 10 lakh people in single day. So it creates a kind of effect, and I am sure that we would love to have you, because the message will really spread fast. And when you are there, and Gautam is there to help us, Ashish is there, so I am sure that we are going to achieve our targets of reaching 100 million people in 100 days. Uh, I also did some homework also, and I was seeing one of your IGTV live where you actually were discussing about the COVID-19 with the doctor there. So I was really impressed with your knowledge of medical science and the COVID-19 per se, and you really asked really very, very good questions to that chap. So I would also like to tell you that COVID-19 diabetes also come as a major comorbidity with the COVID-19. So what would you like to say on that?
Well, this just takes back to the beginning of our conversation where we said that, when diabetes goes undetected, which is the case in most of the people's lives, it can lead to further complications. And what happens is, we do not, or I feel that's somewhere where that's a phase where the medical industry needs to come together and kind of have a holistic approach. Because if a person is coming with fatigue and tiredness and numbness in their fingers and toes, you generally just say that maybe it's a magnesium, lack of magnesium, so maybe just some magnesium tablets or something else or something else. And when you're treating just the surface level problems, what is happening is the person who is suffering is going through stress in trying to find out what is actually happening to him or her. And this is something which we actually faced when my mother was unwell, and we wouldn't understand why such a lively and happy person suddenly looks fatigued, is saying that she physically feels fatigued and tired and doesn't have the motivation. And we kind of try and pick different things. What could be the reason? It could be stress, it could be this, it could be that. But the whole reason why it actually started was because she was diabetic. And although her insulin, her sugar levels weren't really high, but we were able to catch it in time. And so that is something I realized with the knowledge of my own experience at home, and from trying to gather information from various places. So I think what needs to be done, like you said, in a situation like COVID, where everyone was falling ill one after the other, and people were first scrambling to figure out what exactly was happening. And first the symptoms were just like a fever and pneumonia, and then it's only later, almost towards after 7 or 8 months, that people realize that the patients who are already suffering from diabetes or any other illnesses, they are more susceptible to being affected really adversely. And I think that's the case with any illness. Like, our body is an ecosystem. And and I think, the universe or the God, whoever we believe in, has designed us in such a beautiful way that everything, every cell in our body, from toe to the tip of our head, everything is connected. And so we need to figure out what is actually causing a certain problem. And I think just treating superficially, or treating the first layer of the symptom, that doesn't really cure the problem. And I think that's where that's one thing which the medical doctors need to come together and discuss. And second of all is, I think, to create an awareness and understanding about your own health, and testing after a certain age. Say, for example, testing after 35 or 40 must be made mandatory, if not every year, at least every 2 years. So at least if there is anything wrong. I mean, it's such a battle for someone like me to get my parents to go do their, health tests. And I've seen that it's a problem with most of my friends who have, who kind of can see that, okay, there is something wrong. Can we go and do a test? And they'll be like, nahi karna hai. So I think that needs to change. So I think if we can like I said before, that prevention is better than cure always, and we've read about this and studied this in school, but we never really apply it. And I think that's where the change needs to happen. So that's why I emphasized on the fact that the knowledge of health, the importance about health, needs to be imbibed in a child from a very young age. And I think as parents or as adults and as people who have information about these things, it's our responsibility to share that information. And that's why when Ashish told me that there's this initiative where we are creating awareness about diabetes, I jumped in. I said, yes, why not? Because more and more people need to know about this, and not just in India, but across the world. Because we've seen how people who were once healthy, lived an absolutely perfect life, have completely become ill with major ailments because of the advent of the fast food industry. And I think that's something which people need to understand. Again, convenience can lead to a lot of problems, so we need to kind of find that balance. And it's difficult to cook healthy food when both the partners are working, or you don't have a house help. A lot of people in India suffered because the housemaid couldn't come to their houses to cook food. So obviously they were relying on pizzas and burgers as their meal. But I think there can be a solution, and there is a solution. Instead of snacking on something that's unhealthy and fried, people can have fruits, and people can have snacks that are homemade instead of buying it from outside. And I think there is always a solution. It's just there. We need to be open to it, and I think that's when we will find it.
You have made a very, very important point here. And before I go to Dr. Makkad, who will tell us about the healthy food choices, what you have said is that most of the time people with diabetes diagnosis comes as a surprise. They are searching, they are ill, and all of a sudden it is tested, and they discover that they have developed diabetes. And almost more than 50% of the cases are like that. And that is why the RSSDI has brought in a very, very important component of this campaign, is that we have initiated a petition also that make blood sugar testing as a fifth vital sign. So we want to, as we check blood pressure, we check temperature, we check respiratory rate, we check pulse rate. So what we are recommending is that, and there is a research paper, which is one of the author is Dr. Bansi Sabu is also one of the author, along with Dr. Anup Mishra and Dr. Jyoti Dev. And this paper has highlighted this fact that blood sugar should also be considered as a fifth vital sign. And whenever we go to a health checking facility, just like a doctor checks your blood pressure, he should also check for your sugar, whether you have a history of diabetes or not. So it should be considered as a vital sign, and we will request you to extend your support for this petition also. It is already there on the change.org, and we are trying to mobilize and more people to sign that. I think in coming few days we will see a huge jump in the signing of the petitions. Now I come to Bakkar sir. Bakkar sir has a huge, a large experience in managing obesity and diabetes, and it would be very, very interesting to hear his views on the healthy food choices.
Thank you, Amit. I think, towards the end of her conversation, Parvathy made a very important point that we should not look at the snacks that are available from the Zomatos and Swiggies. We can have healthy snacks, or, replace them with fruits and home cooked snacks which are healthy. I think that is the most important thing that we have to focus on. We have to keep in mind that the access to the processed, healthy foods or healthy snacks, all these foods, whether it's the noodles or the pasta or whatever, even if they are coming from the healthier ingredients, they are processed foods. They have a cost factor associated. There is a very limited availability, and majority of the Indian population cannot afford it. We have to accept that. Most of the people still depend on home cooked food. So basic instructions to them or basic guidance to them, I think, can do a huge make a huge impact on their well-being. So something as simple as that, you reduce the calorie density of the food cooked at home. So just reduce sugars, just reduce the component of fat used in cooking, use healthier oil, and eat on time, contain, contain the portion size, and don't tend to overeat. Don't eat if it is not necessary. These small things, and making them into a habit by practice, helps a lot in improving the sugar levels and general health of these patients. Then coming to fruits, fruits are excellent choices, but the problem is not everybody can afford those fruits. But there are other options, like something as simple as roasted grams, bhune hue chane, the staple food, easily available, not very expensive, very filling, and very healthy. I tell my patients to keep a dabba of bhune hue chane on their table, because if they want to munch, they will munch on that. And soon, food is something that, if you even if you don't like the taste, you start eating in small amounts, and over a period it becomes tasty for you, because you develop that taste. You take tea with sugar, suddenly you stop taking sugar, and after a while you would not like to have a tea cup which is having sugar. So taste is developed, it is cultivated. So we have to guide people to adopt healthy eating practices, develop taste for healthy, indigenously available, cheaper food options, which are still as healthy, or as good as and best of the foods that come at a bigger price. And this is where the larger population is going to benefit.
Thank you, sir. I would like to ask Parvathy one important question, which was coming to my mind, that you are also in a field where stress can come very easily. And you have been Miss India, you have contested so many pageants, and you have been into Bollywood. So, how do you manage your own stress levels? What do you do for that?
So I would not say that uh, I think there's a network issue. So, um, so I will not say that it's very easy to manage stress. Stress is something which kind of, again, builds over time. A lot of us, I would say, are used to kind of putting things away, even if it is things that are bothering us, even if it's things that we have to do. We kind of, slide everything under the carpet. But then there comes a time when, the dust is so much under it that, it kind of just, gives way. And that's why you see a lot of people now talking about anxiety and depression, because I don't think this was a common term. I think 20 years ago, or 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago, people did not talk about it. I think stress is something which is very, very natural in today's day and age. And again, when I was doing my research, and I'm someone who consciously tries to stay healthy. And when I left modeling and I moved to New York to study culinary arts, there was a major shift in my life when it came to leaving everything that I had kind of built over a decade, and leaving my comfort of being at home around my parents and moving to a new city altogether. The stress kind of started building up. And I realized only when my skin started acting up. I had severe acne and I had severe health issues. And what you actually kind of pinpoint first is, when you get something like that, you go to a dermatologist, you get a treatment topical. But then what you don't understand is this is caused from within. And so for me, I think the first is the realization that it could be something more than that, what you see on the surface. Second is that, how do I tackle that stress and anxiety? And it becomes, it's not an easy process, but it becomes kind of easy as you keep at it and as you make it a habit. So if I feel very, very stressed, for me, what gives me instant relief is just to sit in a corner and breathe, deep breathing. And I'll come to this again. but deep breathing is something which really helps instantly to kind of, supply that oxygen to the brain and kind of, calm you down. And I keep sipping a lot of water, and I think that's, a lot of times stress is also built when your body is trying to give you different signs that, I need something. And external factors, obviously, you don't have a control over them. So when stress kind of builds in, for me, I try and follow a routine as much as possible. So at least give myself, if not 1 hour, at least 20 minutes every day for physical activity, exercise, and meditation. I think that's something which really keeps me going. And yoga is something which has really cured a lot of, my stress. I wouldn't say cured, but reduced it considerably. So I think, we again come back to the fact that we need to kind of, give importance to our health. And when we realize that there's something wrong, to talk about it is also very important. A lot of people do not, talk about their health issues, because again, that's a big taboo in our society. अरे ये तो बीमार है, या इसको क्या हो गया, so that kind of mindset also needs to change. So stress is inevitable, but it's also controllable. So that's, I mean, my way to go forward with that is to, take a deep breath a couple of times. And if you don't have someone to talk to, at least start journaling, write what you feel. I think that lets out a lot of your stress, because then you're not piling things up in your head. So that's something which I have realized. And also, when in my research of how health can be affected, there is a research on how actually deep breathing can help you in better digestion, better assimilation of nutrients, and better circulation of oxygen, obviously. So that gives a positive to the health as well.
It's really very, very interesting to know about all these things. And you have now we are coming almost to the end of our program. So I will request Dr. Bansi Sabu sir to come in and again say a few words and thank our eminent panelists today, Dr. Ashish Chopra as well as Parvathy ji, and Gautam is also there.
So first of all, it was real great, Amit. Thank you first to you, but thanks to our guest. Parvathy ji, it was real wonderful to have you on our platform, on this social media, on Facebook Live, particularly during this campaign of Defeat Diabetes. I'm also thanking Mr. Gautam Chopra as well as Mr. Ashish Chopra for their presence as well as for their wonderful interaction. Thanks to Dr. Amit once again, and I should also thank Dr. Makkar, who is our eminent executive committee member of RSSDI, for making it possible to be here. So we are really very thankful, and we would like to have your endorsement about this Defeat Diabetes campaign, as well as for our petition, which we want that sugar monitoring is 5th important vital sign, and that's very, very important. So I'm sure Amit and we will share with you that petition, and also to Gautam as well as to Mr. Ashish Chopra. Thank you once again to all our audience and all our regular followers on our Facebook page, RSSDI Facebook page, as well as on Defeat Diabetes Facebook page. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And we will keep you updated and posted about the new things which are coming up in this campaign. And surely the program on 29th of September on the World Heart Day is on the cards. And we are going to test 10 lakh people on a single day all across the country. And it won't be possible without the support of leading personalities, celebrities, RSSDI members, and our followers. So we request you all to keep in touch. Once again, thank you, Parvathy ji. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, Makkar sir. Thank you, Bansi sir. And thank you, Gautam ji.
Amit, another thing I'd like to
yes,
say
please.
Thank you. Please share the links with Parvathy, me, and even Gautam probably, so that we can share this entire recording on our Instagram, individual Instagram account, so that people are more aware. P2 has a sizable population on their Instagram page. Parvathy has a huge following. Well, some people do follow me once in a while, so I can also put that on. And I think this will be a good campaign for everybody, for people. It'll spread further. So do that with us. We'll be happy to endorse it as much.
Ashish, very silently, you just undermined your following, but we all know that you are being followed by a lot of big people all across the world. So, so that is on the lighter side, and we will request your continuous support for this our program and campaign. Thank you once again. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.